Doing a 20-minute-ish morning sunrise flow. You don't even need to wear your yoga gear. Just roll out of bed. You can do it in your jammies and we'll get started. Come to first a comfortable seated position, and you feel free to close your eyes for gently if you don't doze off. As we get started here, you can sit on a block or on your heels, or you can sit cross-legged in Sukhasana. Let's plant the right hand next to us, so I'm going to be doing the same as you, so we're not mirroring. Plant the right hand. Inhale the left hand high and reach over, up and over towards the right side of your mat. Really ground down through the outside of the left hip, the left sitting bone, and feel that stretch through the left side body as we're just gently waking up here. On an inhale, reach a little bit longer, and on an exhale, a little bit farther towards the end of your mat. Your next breath, release, plant the left hand. Inhale, right hand high, reach up and over towards maybe the front of your mat this time. See that your shoulder's down away from your ear, and it's like you're reaching up and over rather than collapsing onto your shoulder. Really focus on the connection between the right sitting bone, the right hip, and the mat. And next exhale, back to center. Let's do one more on each side. Inhale, left hand high, really stretch the fingertips up towards the ceiling, and then bend over to the right side. See if maybe you can go a little bit deeper this time. Big inhale, and then on your exhale, reach a little bit longer, reach the fingertips a little bit longer towards the end of the mat. Next exhale, come back to neutral. Inhale the right hand high, up and over towards your left side. Feel that stretch, especially to the outside of the ribs. The intercostals are getting a little love here. The serratus. And exhale, fingertips come back to center. Let's just walk the hands forward a little bit. We'll come into a tabletop position. So just checking on our alignment here. Wrists are directly under the shoulders. Your knees are under the hips. Spread your fingertips really wide and see that the little V between your thumb and index finger is pointing towards the top of your mat, so your hands are at about 45-degree angle. On an inhale, let your belly hang and pull your shoulders back towards the back of your mat, really opening up the chest. And then exhale, press down into the hands, pull the shoulders up away from the mat, arching your back like a cat. And then on the next inhale, let everything hang, arch the back, pull the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Exhale, press away. Pretend you're making more space between your shoulder blades and the back. Picture like a little crescent moon from one shoulder to the other. Do a couple more on your breath. And then make your way back to neutral. We'll take the right hand and see if you can take the top of the hand onto your mat. And very, very gently just move back, move your shoulder, right shoulder back. It might be like 1/8 of an inch. Such a tiny, tiny, tiny amount to feel that stretch on the back of your wrist. And inhale, just deepen, and an exhale, go a tiny, tiny, tiny bit deeper and further into the stretch. One more breath here. And release, you can roll the wrist out. Plant the right hand, and this time we'll do the left side. So flip the left hand so the palm is facing up. Maybe just flipping the hand and placing the top of your left hand on the mat. Maybe that's enough. But if you want to go a little bit deeper, try straightening your left arm, which will automatically have you go a little deeper into the stretch. And then you can just come back a tiny, tiny bit. It's the movement's not even noticeable to an outsider, but you'll definitely feel it. A little bit deeper, one more stretch, one more breath. And release, roll the wrist out. Let's plant the hands firmly, internally rotate the forearms so they're kind of spinning in towards one another. Curl the toes under and leading with the tailbone, press up and back. We're in our first downward facing dog. We're just waking up. There's no need to force a deep, deep stretch here. Let's just pedal the feet out. Bend one knee, bend the other. Keep the legs really soft here. Knees bent, bring the chest closer to the thighs. Bend the knees, look to the top of the mat and start to take a bunch of teeny tiny steps forward until your feet come up to meet your hands. From here, grab opposite elbows with opposite hands, bend the knees deeply, and we'll hang here in ragdoll. Sway back and forth from one side to the other. Again, we're just getting warmed up, so if you are super flexible and you wake up feeling super limber, go ahead and straighten out the legs. But otherwise, keep the knees bent as deeply as you need to bring the chest on top of the thighs. One side and then the other. Let the head hang. Shake your head back and forth, side to side, up and down. Make sure the neck is feeling really relaxed. Just breathe here. You can even start to feel a little bit maybe of a stretch in the upper back. And then exhale, release the hands to the mat. So from here, we'll go into a little bit of a more intense hamstring stretch, but move into the intensity at your own pace and what feels good for you. So bend the knees if needed to bring the chest on top of the thighs, and then as you exhale, you can start to straighten the legs a little bit, bringing the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Work the sitting bones, the boniest part of your bum, up to the ceiling. Let the forehead come closer to the knees, closer to the shins. We're here in Uttanasana, full forward fold. We'll stay here for 3 more breaths. Pressing the hamstrings towards the back of the mat. Last breath. Inhale, half fold. Fingertips come to the mat or to shins, knees or thighs as your back is flat as you look forward. Exhale, full forward fold. Plant the hands, step the left foot back. The left knee is high. We'll take just 1 breath here and drop the left knee down. Uncurl the left toes. Press into the top of the left foot. Weight comes into the heel of the right foot, and then come up fingertips to the right knee. We're here in Anjaneyasana low lunge. Think about pulling the left hip forward a bit. The right hip comes back. You can definitely have blocks next to you, books, a chair, whatever, if you need a little extra support. And start to feel that left hip flexor really opening up here. Really waking up. Inhale the hands up overhead. See if you can straighten the arms. Palms face one another. Maybe you can start to bring the biceps in line with the ears. And maybe take a tiny little back bend in the upper third of your back. Exhale, plant the hands on the mat, framing the right foot. Curl the left toes under, pull the left knee off the mat. Bring the right foot back to meet the left. Let's stay here in high plank just for a breath. Shift back, downward facing dog. Stay here for a breath. Inhale the left leg high, step the left foot forward between the hands, looking forward, just a breath here on fingertips, and then bring the right foot forward to meet the left. Come back into forward fold. Inhale, half fold. Exhale, plant the hands, step the right foot back this time. Right knee is high off the mat in this low lunge, taking a breath here on fingertips. Drop the right knee down, uncurl the right toes, press into the top of the right foot, press into the heel of the left foot, come up, fingertips to the left knee. This time the right hip starts to come forward, left hip starts to pull back. Breathe here. Feel the opening in that right hip flexor as you start to shift the hips forward, especially as the right hip comes forward and down towards the mat. Really feel all that opening up. Maybe inhale the hands up overhead. And maybe even start to take a little back bend. Pressing into the top of the right foot if you are in that back bend. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down, frame the left foot, curl the right toes under as you pull the right knee up, step the left foot back, high plank, just a breath, shift back, downward facing dog, take a breath here as well. Inhale the right leg high, exhale, step the right foot forward between the hands, fingertips here, look forward for a breath, bring the left foot forward to meet the right, come into a full forward fold. Inhale, half fold, exhale, full forward fold. Slowly roll up to standing. You could put hands on your low back if you want to feel a little extra support back there. Inhale, hands up overhead, the palms are facing one another. Bring the palms together through heart center. Come into forward fold one more time here. Inhale, look long, exhale, plant the hands, step both feet back to high plank. Let's get our alignment here a little bit. So wrists are stacked under shoulders. Press into the hands, pull the chest farther off of the mat, pull the belly button up towards the spine. Engage the quads, so pull the knees up towards the hips a little bit, knees come away from the mat. One more breath here, and let's lower down. Knees come down, chest comes down, chin down. We're in our first little back bend. Breathe here for a moment. Hands are right underneath your shoulders. Press into the hands and just slide. Scoot yourself forward into this little baby cobra. So you can bring your feet wider to the outside of your mat if you'd like here. As we press up, exhale, release. This time slide hands forward a little bit. We're on forearms so that elbows this time are stacked under the shoulders, and press up here into Sphinx. Notice what's starting to engage here. So feel the muscles in the mid-back start to contract. Pull the shoulders back towards the back of your mat, down away from your ears. Maybe pull the knees up off the mat to get a feeling for what that feels like for when we work into Cobra or upward facing dog. And release. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders one more time. We'll press up into King Cobra. Our next inhale. So we're pressing up, really engage the biceps here. Point the toes, shoulders are down away from the ears. You can stay in a baby cobra here too, whatever is comfortable for you as we start to turn on the back muscles. Leading with the heart, chest is forward, shoulders are back. Exhale, release. From toes or from knees, press up into high or low plank. We'll take 3 breaths here, and we'll move through vinyasa. So your hands are planted underneath your shoulders. Your elbows, it's like you're doing a tricep push-up. Elbows are pointing back towards the back of your mat, hugging your ribs so they're not under your chest, just hugging your ribs. When you get to 90 degrees, take a little back bend, upward facing dog or cobra, curl the toes under, shift back, downward facing dog. If that vinyasa is new for you, repetition is what helps, but you can play around with which back bend feels right for you until you start to find your flow. 2 more breaths here in downward facing dog. Really press into the knuckles, especially of the index finger and the thumb. Press the hamstrings towards the back of your mat. Inhale, shift up into high plank. We'll go through that vinyasa again. Exhale, lower down into Chaturanga Dandasana, elbows at 90 degrees. Take your back bend, curl the toes under, lead with the tailbone. Shift back, downward facing dog. One breath here. Inhale, bend the knees, look to the top of the mat, step or hop forward. Come into a full forward fold. Inhale, half fold. Exhale, full forward fold. And slowly roll up to standing. Things are starting to feel maybe a little bit warm as we're really waking up here. So inhale, hands up overhead, palms together. Move through heart center. This time shift the hips back like we're sitting in a chair in chair pose or fierce pose, Utkatasana. So weight is in your heels. Knees are back behind your toes. So you can take a look down and make sure that you can see your toes and that your knees are pointed forward towards the front of your mat. See if you can sink the hips down just another couple inches. Maybe you try to inhale the arms straight up overhead, bringing the biceps in line with the ears, really firing up the back and shoulder muscles. Last breath, palms together, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half fold. Exhale, forward fold. Step back, high plank. Move through vinyasa or meet in downward facing dog. Take one breath here. Inhale, left foot high, point the toes, use the left glute to bring that leg a little higher, a little longer. Exhale, step through between the hands. Take one breath here in runner's lunge on fingertips. Sweep up into crescent lunge. So you're on the ball of the right foot. You're deep in the front left leg. The knee is stacked over the heel, hands are up overhead. A lot of balance here. Pull the inner thighs together. Exhale, open up, warrior two. Right foot is parallel with the back of your mat. Left foot, left leg is in the same position. See if you can bring the left knee out towards the upper left corner of your mat, opening up the hips a bit. Flip the front hand, sweep up overhead, sweep the ceiling, let the right fingertips drop down the right back leg. Next, exhale, bring the left elbow forward towards the left knee. Reach the right fingertips high. Here, an extended side angle. Maybe you want to drop the left fingertips down to your mat or to a block. Last breath. See if without moving the hips, you can bring yourself back up into warrior two. Big breath. Cartwheel the hands down. Step the left foot back. Move through vinyasa or meet in downward facing dog. One big breath here, pressing the hamstrings back towards the back of the mat. Inhale the right leg high, point the right toes, use that right glute to lift your leg up. Exhale, right foot comes forward. A breath here and runner's lunge, and then sweep the hands up into crescent. So same thing on this side, pull the back left knee a little bit higher off the mat. Keep the right knee stacked over the right heel. Hips are low. Imagine you're pulling your inner thighs closer to one another. One more big breath here. Open up, warrior two. Left foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Staying low and strong in the front leg. Right knee is stacked over the right heel. Pull the right knee a tiny bit towards the right upper corner of the mat. Feel how that opens up the hips. Flip the front hand, sweep across the ceiling with the left fingertips. Drop down the left knee towards the left leg, opening the right side of the body. Exhale, right elbow comes forward towards right knee or fingertips drop to the mat. As left hand comes high, an extended side angle. Pull that left shoulder up and back, opening the chest. Last breath, without moving the hips, see if you can use your core to bring you back up to warrior two. One big breath, cartwheel the hands down, step the right foot back in high plank, move through vinyasa or meet in downward facing dog. One big breath here, and then bring the knees wide towards the sides of your mat, drop them down, bring toes together, sink your hips back onto your heels, or you can put a block or a pillow back there in child's pose, and breathe. Reach the fingertips long. Walk the fingers over towards the right side. Sink the left hip back and heavy onto the heels. Feel that stretch through the left side body. Walk fingertips through center and then over to the left. That right hip this time is really heavy on the right heel. Feel the stretch from the outside of the right pinky all the way down the right side of the body. Walk the fingertips back to center and then walk the hands back towards your body. You can just scoot your toes, feet underneath you, coming into seated position. Bring the heels together, and we'll finish here in a butterfly pose or Baddha Konasana, bow angle. You can splay the feet open towards you. Keep the shoulders down away from the ears, back towards your back as you keep the chest really open. Breathe here. Exhale. Last breath. And that's it. The light in me sees and honors the light in you.